Hey guys, what's up? Rulk here. Here for smashing some more stuff today. Today I really want to talk to you about Realm of Legends. I'm really excited. Just yesterday I finally finished Realm of Legends for my first run through first completion. And I wanted to share some tips and strategies and stuff, what I used and what worked well. So to start off, my team was, let's talk about the team that I used. Now, they're kind of tied up in Alliance Quest at the moment, so I can't just build the team for you. So we're just gonna go look through here. So who I brought with me was I brought Thor and I brought Hulk. Now they have a synergy together. Let me see, what's that synergy? No, it's not on Thor's side. It is on. It's from Hulk has the synergy. So these guys are 440 and they're awakened. So Hulk has that synergy with Thor that's getting the 100 plus 115 critical damage rating, and then I also brought in my 4-star Abomination, who's bringing him plus 155 critical rating. So you're getting more critical hits, and then you're increasing your damage from the critical hits. And then we also brought along X23. She was the prime damage dealer for me. So pretty much she was the star of the show, and with her bleeds, her regen. I mean, she just, um, you know, she just cut them open and let the damage just drain right out of them. And then with the regen, she was really able to sustain the long endurance of the fights. Now that's kind of the big deal with Realm of Legends is endurance. That's kind of the theme of it. She didn't really have any synergies there to speak of. It was pretty much the only synergies I had was between Thor and Hulk there, and then like I said, Abomination, who was also bringing in. He's only 330. I honestly didn't use Abomination. He was just there for boosting attack. So there with the Hulk in there, he's bringing a +5 attack to the game. So we had +5 attack, we had plus 155 critical rating, and then plus 115 critical damage. So just trying to add to a little bit to those critical hits. And then with X23 being awakened, she's already going to be hitting a lot of those critical hits whenever they are at 3 or more stacks of bleed. You can see there, anytime the opponent has 3 or more bleed stacks, or Wolverine has 3 or more cruelty stacks, or assassin training kicks in, blah blah blah. Increasing critical rating and critical damage rating by 279. So she just starts dealing a ton of critical hits and stuff, and then we're adding on those with the synergies. I didn't have enough to do the crazy synergy teams like you see everybody else do. So I'm hoping this helps. You guys understand you can do this without having the full-on mutant crit team or something like that. It is possible. So we had those four, and then the other one that we had who was very essential was Guillotine. Guillotine. For those of you who don't know, Guillotine is extremely useful when fighting Wolverine in Realm of Legends because he has insane regen, because he is so boosted up. Um, and his regen stacks, he's at times he's ticking off 10,000 regen per second or half second. I don't know. It's insane. His power, his health meter just goes zoop back up. Um, so it's a really hard one to answer. I mean, I know there are other strategies, but this seems to be the common one, is to just bring in a guillotine. It doesn't have to be a 4-star guillotine. I use this 3-star guillotine. She's only rank 3, level 30. She's not even a maxed out 3-star, and I did it. So it's possible. I've seen you can do this with a 2-star as well. It's just, I mean, using a 2-star or 3-star, their survivability becomes an issue with the blocking and stuff, because those Realm of Legends characters are hitting very hard. So you're going to eat a lot of damage even through your blocks, but hopefully you're not doing that and you're just in their face and you're parrying like crazy. So why is Guillotine important for this? Well, because... oh, no, where am I? Special attacks, that's what I want. So her L2, Guillotine's Ancestral Sword consumes 2 souls to place a phantasm on the opponent, reversing all active healing effects for 10 seconds. So, for 10 seconds, any regen that Wolverine triggers and especially if he stacks them, they're even more. Those are going to turn into basically a degeneration, if you will, where instead of healing and his health meter is moving up, 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 he's gonna you're gonna flip the switch and that's just gonna go down, 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 and you're just gonna see like 3 to 10,000 damages tick, 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 tick going off of him, and you're not even hitting them. So it's not a matter of having a strong guillotine. It's just a matter of having guillotine and just smacking him around, staying in his face, getting aggressive with it until you can get to that L2, and you still have to have those 2 souls, okay? And how do you get the 2 souls? Well, you start out with 4, okay? And for every 6% of maximum health that Guillotine removes from her opponent during combat, she feeds her Ancestral Blade and gains 1 soul. Souls expire every 10 seconds and grant Guillotine, critical hit damage or critical damage rating, whatever. So basically, every 6% of his health that you take off, you're going to get another soul. So the idea is you start out with 4, okay? You start out with 4, and they last 10 seconds, so it takes you about 15 to 20 seconds to get to your power meter up to L2. If you're doing it this way, I mean, unless you have a team that's got synergies for power gain, then it's going to help you get there quicker, which I would recommend. That would help if you can do that. But so basically for me, it would be like 20 seconds and I'd be ready for the L2, and I'd just kind of hope that the timing worked out good with Wolverine. If it didn't, then it kind of sucks, but then you trigger that L2 and then you just stay crazy in his face. I mean, just parry him, smack him around with a 5-hit combo, parry him again, intercept him. I mean, if you're good at that, otherwise stick to the parry game, just don't get hit. And then just, I mean, because every hit you're doing, you're trying to trigger those regens on him. You're trying to trigger as many regens as you can, because as they stack, they do even more regen. But under that debuff, he's going to turn to degeneration, and he's just going to basically kill himself. Okay, so it's kind of a bit of luck with timing, a lot of skill, and you can do it. Like I said, I did it with this one. It's 3-star, rank 3, level 30 Guillotine. No big deal there. So that was the team I used. Let's go over to Realm of Legends and let's just kind of look through it. And I want to point out a few tips with each one, and some general tips overall for Realm of Legends that you may not be aware of, because I wasn't until I went and ran through it a couple times. So over here in Realm, let's just, whatever, we don't care who we're throwing in there right now. We're just gonna go look at the map. So you get in here. So your first one is Winter Soldier. Now there's nothing really special. Okay, wait a second, back up. What you need to know is this entire map, nobody has their level 3 special activated. No one. They will not trigger it. So as long as you're comfortable with evading the L1 and the L2 of any of these characters, just sit there and wail away on them. Okay, just keep hitting them. There's no need to hold back. There's no need to get up to L2 and then stop, hold off, go back and like try to bait the special. You don't have to do that. Okay, it doesn't matter. With Winter Soldier, I would recommend you just go for the L1, and he does go very aggressively on triggering his L1, so it's not usually a problem that you're going to push him beyond that. But if you do, his L2, you can dodge the first like push kick that he does, but then he does a spray of machine gun fire from like an AR type rifle or whatever. You can't evade that because it lasts so long. I don't think, anyways. I haven't seen anybody do it. So really, you just got to block it, and then you're just eating some block damage. So unless, I mean, if you got X23 or Wolverine or some other good champ that's good at regen, then okay if you want to push it there. But I think the safe bet is really to go to his level 1, which is totally easy to evade. It really is, and you can look up lots of videos on that. Maybe we'll cover it sometime. So nothing really super special there. These are just overall, these are just long fights. I mean, what Realm of Legends really is about is endurance. Is can you hold up a good level of skill, a basic level of skill, for a long time, for a long fight. I think, most of these fights with 440 characters and the setups that I have for masteries and whatnot, you're going to be at maybe about 400 hits total, something like that, 3 to 400 hits. I think some of mine were 300. But yeah, they're really not too bad. And then, okay, so then we're moving on to Captain Marvel there. She's not really that hard. Her L1 is easy to evade. It's easy to see it coming because she flies up in the air, and shoots down her beam, whatever. That one you can totally go in after you evade it. You can go in and hit her. Same with Bucky there, with Winter Soldier. After his L1, if you evade that successfully, you're good to just go in there, dash in, and just start wailing on him. Same with Captain Marvel there. If you dodge her L1, just dash right in and just go start wailing on her and get some damage in. If you push her to L2, which don't be afraid to do it, and don't be afraid, like I said, to push her all the way to L3 because she won't do it. If you push her to L2, just be aware. It's easy to dodge again because she, again, flies up in the air and she comes down at you with like this flying kick thing. But it's a very fast recovery on that one. Okay, so be careful and be mindful of that. I'm not saying it's impossible to hit her afterwards, but I'm saying it's very difficult. You have to be extremely vigilant of that special animation and dodge as soon as possible so that you can swipe back in and you can hit her as soon as she lands. Because she does recover her block very quickly on that. Okay, so just be aware. When I did it, I didn't bother. I would just evade the level 2, and I wouldn't. I never went back into attack her after that because pretty much very consistently after she does an L2, and you got that distance between the two of you, she's gonna dash into you, and she's gonna do her dash in medium hit, which is very predictable and easy to just hit the block and parry. Okay. And that's the story with all of these fights, okay? It's all about dexterity, evade, and parry, and endurance. Those are the 3 ingredients. If you're wondering, what do I need to work on to do Realm of Legends? That's it. You have to have a really good parry game. You have to have a really good evade. Dexterity, evade. You better be able to see those specials and evade those because you can't be eating block damage. It's gonna add up. It's a long fight, and then it's just endurance. You have to be able to sustain that level of combo for a very long time. It's not that hard, really. Okay, so moving forward, Juggernaut. He's a bit of a pain in the butt for a lot of people. I don't have a lot of trouble with him because the way I have my mastery set up, and we'll talk about that in just a second. Because there's a lot going on there behind the scenes. But really, basically, what I'm able to do is when he goes to the unstoppable, well, first of all, you evade his level 1, level 2. The level 1 is a bit of a delayed timing, okay? So when you see it happen, you have to wait just a millisecond, a fraction of a second, and then evade as you see the kind of the wave of rock coming towards you. So just kind of before it hits you. If you do it when he's like winding up, and then he hits it, you're gonna be out of your dash evade before it comes and hits you. So then you're gonna get hit with it, and that's not really good. All of these guys have, I think all of them have a slight chance to stun you on normal hits. I don't know if it's listed here. It's not listed as like a global node or something, but I know it does happen that if any of them get a combo off on you, be aware that there is a chance that they will stun you with a normal hit. Okay, so don't get hit. Alright, that's really the idea here, is don't get hit. You want to dance around, parry, and evade. So Juggernaut, he's not that crazy. Like I said, just be aware the timing is a little delayed on his L1. His L2 is just kind of a 3-hit thing. Pretty easy to see coming. You just swipe, 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 dash, dash, dash away, and you'll evade it. What I do is I get an extra dash away on after he does one of the specials and he goes to the unstoppable, okay? Because what I do is it gives me a gap between me and him so I can see him dash in, and all these characters are pretty aggressive, so they're gonna dash in. So when he dashes in, then I'm gonna hit my parry, and I'm gonna stun him, okay? And because the way I have my mastery set up, that the stun lasts long enough that I can get in a medium hit and a light hit, and then just wait a fraction of a second and put my block up again, and he comes out of that stun, and he gets parried again. Okay? And then I hit him with a medium and a light, and then I hold the block again, and he's stunned a third time, and I hit him with then I can hit him with a 5-hit combo, because at that point his unstoppable has expired. He's lost it. So it's a good way, and it's not for everybody. I mean, it takes some skill to do that and know your timing, and the masteries have to be set up correctly. Okay, we'll get to that. But if you can do that, you're basically dealing damage to him even while he's in his unstoppable mode. So you're there's no time you're not dealing damage to him. Okay, so that would be my recommendation. If you can do that, do it. Otherwise, if you don't feel comfortable that, you're gonna have to just evade a lot while he's in the unstoppable. You know, maybe block, but again, you're gonna take a lot of block damage. Or you can parry and then evade and just kind of hang back and wait it out if you don't feel like being aggressive and getting your 2 hits in and then redoing it. But just be aware if all you're doing is evading back, 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 eventually you're going to find yourself in a corner, and that's not a great place to be with Juggernaut, especially when he has Unstoppable and you're in a corner because he's going to hit that heavy attack, and unless your timing is really good and you can see it coming, you know, it's there's nowhere to go, okay? You can't outrange anything. You're going to have to time your evades like crazy, just so you're not getting killed. So otherwise, you know, nothing special about Juggernaut. And again, push him all the way to the L3 as long as you feel comfortable with the level 2. And just be aware that if you push them to L3, what they're going to do is they're going to do a L2, and they might immediately do an L1 or exactly after it. Okay, be aware of that, especially with Captain Marvel too, because those can catch you if you're not ready. And another reason not to dash right in on one of these, if they're at 3 bars of power, don't dash in and hit them after they trigger an L2, because you might just dash in and just get smacked with an L1. Not pretty. You don't want that. Moving on, Rhino. Rhino is... he's a chump. There's nothing special about Rhino. Okay, so normally what makes Rhino annoying is that when he does his dash in attacks, okay, he is unstoppable. Okay, so you can't intercept him. Okay, intercepting doesn't work on Rhino. It makes it kind of a major pain, but even more so of a pain is normally Rhino will occasionally have a chance during his dash attack to become not just unstoppable, but he will become unblockable as well. And that chance goes up if you're a smaller character versus, you know, like a large character like Hulk. He won't trigger much, but unlike Spider-Man, he's very small. It'll trigger more. That makes him a pain in the butt, and especially when he's got this much... you know, he's this beefed up. I was thinking like, oh, this is gonna suck. But then I found out that he doesn't have unstoppable or unblockable. So he just is a normal character. He has no unstoppable on this map. Okay? Don't worry about it. He's not unblockable. So basically anytime he dashes in, you're free to intercept him. Or you're free to just parry him, stun him, and just wail on him. And again, he has very easy specials to evade. I mean, he telegraphs them big time. You can see these big movements that he's doing before the strike actually comes. So just look for those cues and then dash back at the appropriate time and just dash right back in and start beating on him again. Okay. The only thing you got to know is the Rhino turns into a long fight because of his signature ability, his Rhino armor. I believe basically his armor goes up as the lower his health is. So he takes less and less damage as he, you know, deplete his health. So it just slows down. If you have assassin mastery on, that helps with that. It helps with all these fights, just kind of finishing them off a little bit faster at the end. Storm is whatever. She's so lame, if you ask me. At least a fight. I mean, I know Storm's pretty good on offense if you've got her. That conduit ability is insane. But watch out for that. Just don't get hit. Again, just don't get hit. Just do the stuns, do your parries, hit her a bunch of times. Be aware that when the L1 triggers, you know, she's going to go up in the air, and she's going to spin around, and she's going to shoot that lightning. Just look for her, that cue. She goes up in the air. Okay, got to dash back, and you've just dodged it. No big deal. Same thing with the L2. Just be aware when she's at that L2, she's likely going to trigger it. Especially if you're at kind of a medium to long range. She seems to like to trigger that most of the time. That's the sweet spot for getting her to trigger it. And just be aware if she's at that, just be ready that when she flies up in the air again, you got to dash away, okay? And you'll evade it every time. I don't think I got hit by Storm specials at all. They're just so predictable and easy to see. Otherwise, just, you know, parry stunner and keep wailing on her. Vision. Okay, classic Vision. Usually the problem with Vision is that he has that, what is, I can't remember what it's called, synergy? No. Synthesis. Synthesis? Basically, at random, he generates power and just fills up his power meter, okay? Usually that's a major pain because you don't want him to get to the level 3, but oh wait, that's right. None of them use their level 3 in Realm of Legends. So if you can just sit there and keep smacking him around. You don't have to have a power gain control character or anything to, limit that because he'll never trigger it. So all he's ever going to trigger is the L2 and the L1. Now the thing about Vision is all of his special attacks are based on power burn. So they will only deal damage if they actually if they hit you, okay? If you block them, they do nothing, okay? They don't do any damage, zero, if you just block them. They're also both very easy to evade, no big deal there. If you can, go for it. Super easy, but otherwise you can just stand there and take it as a blocked hit and then just start hitting them again, okay? Because it's going to do no damage to you. Thor was a huge help on this one just because, the class advantage, and then also with all the parrying and the stunning that I was doing, and then the chain stuns that you would get from his specials. He just absolutely ripped Vision apart with all those armor breaks. It was a very fast fight, and he has no regen, and it was, he managed to survive the entire fight and then still have some to go ahead and fight in future ones. So Thor's really great for that one. He'll just rip him apart. Moving on, Black Panther, classic Black Panther. Nothing really there. His specials can be a little bit fast if you're not used to them, but if you're used to dodging his specials and seeing them coming, they're so easy to evade. You just got to do kind of the double swipe back dash to evade them because there are some pretty quick successive hits. Okay, so be aware of that, but be aware if he tags you. Okay. With his signature ability there, that's going to mean that he has a chance on normal attacks and on critical hits to stack a bleed on you. And if he gets a whole combo on you, you could walk away with 5 bleed stacks on you and just watch your health just go through the floor, okay? So he's really critical just not to get hit. His specials are pretty easy to bait. They're kind of close range specials, so somewhere like a close to medium range. In front of him, that's where you want to be if you're trying to bait those specials. And then just be aware and just ready to just dash back and outrange it, or like I said before, if you can stay close, you can double dash and you'll evade it, and it's no problem. So nothing much there. Scarlet Witch, that's where it starts to get interesting. Okay, so Scarlet Witch has her Veil of Fortune. She's still a major pain even though the nerf happened in 12.0. She just doesn't hit her regen like ever. I think I use the Hulk for her because the poisons, she will stack the poisons debuffs on you like crazy, and those suck. Okay, so I highly recommend you bring a poison champ, immune champ for dealing with Scarlet Witch. Otherwise, like I said, you don't have to worry about the level 3, so nothing to worry about there. Let her power meter go crazy. Just keep hitting her as much as you want. Yeah, she. I think I fought her with Hulk, and I don't think she ever triggered a single regen. And that was not just my one run, but on my practice runs that I got to her too. I didn't ever see her trigger a regen. I don't know what's up with that, if something's broken there, but it worked out in my favor. I didn't have to worry about trying to nullify that or do anything weird with it. So Hulk did just fine. He has huge damage output, plus he's got the class advantage. And then again, the synergy bonus with Thor to get the extra critical hits. So he was doing a lot there. Plus he's got that stun on both his level 1 and level 2. So, again, getting the chain stun on Scarlet Witch, I think is fairly important. Why? Because I find her level 1 special to be a bit difficult to dodge. It's not impossible by any means. It's just slow and delayed, and I've gotten to the point where I'm so fast with my evades that I evade too soon before that little orb floats over and gets to you. You really have to wait until it's like this close to hitting you in the face, okay? Like it's got to be right there, and then you swipe and you'll evade it no problem. And again, she you can with her L1 or her L2. Her L2 is so easy to evade. She kind of does this big wind up. She really telegraphs the move. big time. You can totally see it coming, and you just swipe back as soon as you see her do that, and it won't hit you at all. But either one, her L1 or her L2, if you can successfully evade the L1, um, and you can evade the L2, you're free to just swipe back in as soon as you evade that and just go start pummeling on her. They're just a single hit one, so as long as you evade the one hit, you're good to just swipe in and just start wailing on her. But like I said, I like to bring somebody that I can do some chain stun with, so Hulk, Thor, who else? Jane Foster Thor. Anybody like that that you can do a chain stun with, because then you can kind of keep her stunned enough to build her up to that L2, because I feel the L2 is extremely easy to evade versus the L1. The L1's a little risky. So that's what I did. That worked fine. And then moving on, we've got Wolverine, who for me was the biggest pain. But like I said before, we had Guillotine, we hit that L2, and just reverse that regeneration to become a degeneration, and he just killed himself. Now, if you miss it, okay, well, let's say you get it. Okay, you get to the L2 and you trigger it, and he just doesn't trigger the regens, okay, and he doesn't do any damage. Well, then your 10-second buff expires, and you don't have any souls left. So when you get to L2 again, you're gonna trigger it, and you're gonna say, "What happened? Why didn't I trigger the debuff that switches his regen to a degeneration?" Well, because if you remember and you look closely at her level 2 mechanics, it relies on those souls. You have to have 2 of them in order for it to place the debuff. You can still trigger the special, but it just won't land him with that regen reversal debuff. So you gotta be careful of that. So if you get there and you trigger the L2 and you don't get it, and you're sitting there and you're like, okay, I can't possibly chip away 12% of his health in 20 seconds, because you just can't. Maybe if you had a rank 5, I doubt it. You just can't deal that much damage to him. Okay, so basically you're sitting there with no souls, and you're like, crap, I just have to let myself die. Well, one little tip is you could pause the game, set it down, walk away, wait for to want to reconnect, and it's going to boot you out of the fight, and Wolverine's going to go back to his regular health, but your character will drop half of whatever health they started the fight with. So instead of wasting a whole lot of revives, you can use that to do a whole lot of potions, and maybe that saves you a little bit. Okay, I don't know if that's officially cool or not, but that's what I did. It saved me a whole lot of revives. All right. You just gotta chip at it. You just gotta keep working at it. He's tough. There's nothing about it. He's tough to do with Guillotine even. But you gotta, like I say, play smart, get up in his face, go crazy on him, and just hit him a ton, and he'll get those regens. Black Bolt, really nothing special there. His special one is easy to evade. It's the exact same thing as Vision, just this one will hurt you if you block it. His level 2, where he kind of does this spinning thing going across the screen at you, I think when he triggers it, I think it deals like 5% 5% of his health is direct damage to him. So in Realm of Legends, I mean, with him boosted up so much, his health is huge, and I think it was like 13,600 on 2 ticks, so that's like 26,000 damage. That was a lot of damage, and if you think it's 5%, I think it's 5%. If it's 5%, really you could not hit him at all and just get him. Obviously, his power meter needs to fill, but if he triggered 20 level 2s and you just evade them, he'd kill himself. So the whole time you're wailing on him, you're chipping away at his health, okay? And then you just build him up to that level 2, and it's a fairly easy, thing to evade. You just swipe back twice, do the double dodge, evade, no big deal, you're out of it, and he just, dealt 26,000 damage to himself. So he's kind of a joke. He's pretty easy to fight, and he just kind of kills himself. That fight was probably one of the fastest ones on this run, just because he just kept hurting himself. Hulk, okay, since 12.0 buff, Hulk is a beast. He's a monster. He gets fury like crazy when he's attacking, when he's being attacked, and because he's got a signature level there, as he declines in health, he gains additional attack boost there. especially when he's really low. His attack gets really boosted. So just be aware of that. That when he's low health, he's gonna be hitting like a nuke. I mean, he is really gonna be hammering on you like crazy. So you don't want to take a lot of blocked hits because you're gonna be eating a lot of that block damage. But otherwise, it's the same thing. I mean, the level one's pretty easy to see it coming and then evade it. It's he kind of hits the ground. There's that shockwave thing like Juggernaut does or like Rhino does. Still, again, same thing. Just if you're right up close to him, you can dodge it immediately. But if you're even at like a medium to far distance, you have to wait for that shockwave to get to you. Okay. Otherwise, you're going to dodge too early, and then it's going to clip you as you're coming out of your dodge. And then the second hit is where he grabs that chunk of rock and he throws it across the screen at you. That's pretty easy to see coming. It's a fast projectile, so just as soon as he throws it, just kind of watch it, follow it across the screen, and just swipe at the right time, right when it's about to hit you. No big deal. And the L2 is just the big clap thing. It's a single hit. He does a huge like wind up back, and then he boom claps. It's super easy to see it coming and evade it. I almost never get hit by that unless I catch it when I'm trying to go in and intercept them like a noob. That's it. I mean, there's nothing really crazy here. Again, remember, there's no level 3. They don't have their level 3 special. They're not going to trigger it. So just go nuts on them, wail on them, and a lot of these other characters, like Rhino, he's kind of gimped on a lot of his stuff, so he's no big deal. So really just, you're going to have to practice that Wolverine thing with Guillotine, but you'll get it. Just keep going at it. And let's see what else. Oh, last thing we got to talk about. I know this video is really long, but I just I really wanted to make sure I covered this thoroughly for everybody. Masteries. This is the setup that I ran for my completion. Okay, so I've got a lot in deep wounds. As you'll see, I'm maxed out. That was because of X23. Okay, so I'm bleeding a lot of damage off of them. And then also in Assassin, so I'm doing, getting a 50% attack boost once they get below 18% health, so you're just really, really ripping on them once they're in that low health range, and helps kind of finish the fight off at the end quicker, because that's about the time you're starting to fatigue in the fight and you start screwing up and messing up your parry timing and stuff like that. I like Pierce. Pierce is good because you're taking 15% of their armor off. Now, when you're talking about Realm of Legends characters, their armor is massive. So 15% of a massive chunk of armor is a big chunk of armor taken off, alright? I feel like that's worth it. I do have one in Courage here, not, as you may have seen in my previous videos, I do like Courage a lot, but I only put one in it because most of the time, if you're doing it right, you've got a regen champ, you're not getting hit by block damage, you're doing parries, you're evading, you should not be below 50% health. Most of the time, okay? I was almost never below 50% health because it just played really tight and, kept the damage off. Plus, I regened all the time with X23. I also have Glass Cannon on here. It's going to take a bit of your health off, but it's going to give you a 7.2% to boost to attack all the time. That's really good. And then you add on top your Assassins here at the end, your 57.2 attack at that point. So it's really worth it. This is what I'd recommend if you're trying to go for damage heavy. Not that. This setup for offense. If you're really trying to go damage heavy and do as much as you can, obviously these are critical. You have to have precision, you have to have cruelty, because those are going to get you those critical hits, and the critical hits are really what chip away at these guys, okay? The regular hits are not doing much to these guys at all. They're not making a dent, so you have to be hitting as many critical hits as you can if you want to, get through this fight in a reasonable time frame. So that's that. Just basically hit like a freaking nuke. Rulk Smash the hell out of them. Over here in defense, nothing special here. I keep Salve. That's only going to help you for 60 seconds. So in Realm of Legends, it's not really great. It's not going to do a ton for you because these fights are going to last quite a long time. I don't know exactly the timing, but it's way more than a minute. Okay, Salve will run out, but it's going to give you 600 health, which should help offset some of the parry damage for you. Recovery, I like recovery. I highly recommend having, like I said, a recovery champ. Somebody that can, like X23, who's got the regens, or Wolverine. Has very, very good regens. I highly recommend him, but his damage output's not as good as X23. Rogue is good. Ghost Rider maybe. Anything you can do to just get some regen and survive that fight, because this is all about survival. It's all about endurance. You got to go the distance, and to go the distance, unless you've got a big stash of potions sitting there in your inventory, or you got a really deep pocket, you're going to burn through a lot of potions if you're going to go that way. So I would really recommend you have a regen champ and do 3 points in recovery, because that's going to add 15% to any of your regen that you're getting. Some people like willpower. Still, again, this is a touchy one for me. I like willpower. I'm just not willing to spend the points in all these other junk masteries like perfect block, which only gets you 4%. It's not worth it. Who cares? I mean, definitely block proficiency. You need that, because these guys, like I said, are hitting a lot. So if you're taking blocked hits, which you shouldn't be doing much of, but if you are, this is going to mitigate a lot of that damage. I just, and you're really not going to get slapped with any debuffs. I mean, shy of getting, like the bleed or like a poison or heal blocks and stuff. Well, if you got a heal block from Scarlet Witch, then you're not going to heal anyways. So I don't feel like willpower is useful in Realm of Legends at all. I feel like you're better spending that on offensive power to just try to deal as much damage and criticals as you can, and try to shorten that fight up to the smallest duration possible, and just play really tight and just stay on your game. Over here, this is important. Utility is very important. If you're going for the method where you're using Guillotine to take down Wolverine, you do not want anything in Petrify, because what does that do when you inflict stun? They also reduce enemy health and power gains by up to 10%. Okay, so if you have that max, it's 30%. So you're going to knock 30% off of Wolverine's regens, which means when you switch them and reverse them to that degeneration, you're going to be getting 30% less damage there. You're fighting yourself at that point. So don't do that if you're going the Guillotine route. Also, do not do Pacify, because when you stun them with your parry, they also reduce enemy ability triggers by 10%. Again, that goes up to 30% with 3 points. So you're going to also be you got a 30% reduction in his rate of triggering his regens, which you don't want. You want him to trigger as many regens as possible and be regenning as much health as he possibly can, so that when you flip it, when you reverse it and it turns into degeneration, he's just eating his own health away like crazy, okay? Limber, I have no use for, so just 1 point. It's a stepping stone over to dexterity and the others. You shouldn't be getting stunned. You shouldn't be getting hit in this, so don't worry about it for stuns. Like I said, if they hit you with normal attacks, they can stun you, but don't get hit. You should not be getting hit, okay? Dexterity, you have to have dexterity. I only recommend 1 point. Really, it's just a function of it you're looking for. Parry, absolutely critical. Gotta have parry. You have to be super good with your parry, okay? I really recommend that. That's going to make your life very easy. You're going to take a lot less damage, and you're going to get a lot more opportunities to start hitting them. I like Stupefy. Why do I like Stupefy? Remember I was talking about Juggernaut? The ability to, when he goes unstoppable and he dashes in, you parry stun him, and then I can get the medium hit, and I can get the light hit, and then I can put my block up again just in time to parry him again. That happens because of this additional 0.5 seconds. Okay, it doesn't seem like a lot when you read it, but it is a millennia when you're playing. Okay, you feel it when you're playing. It's so long, and it's just enough to stretch that out to get those 2 hits in a Juggernaut, and then be ready to just parry him again. Okay, so that's a good trick. Practice it a lot. Okay, don't expect to go in there and just do it right off the bat. So you got to practice that, be real good at it, but you can do it. Low power. All right, we're running out of time anyways. So that's it. That's what I've got. This is my setup that I've got. It worked extremely well. I did so much damage. The fights really weren't terribly long. I mean, they were still long because I was only rank 4 characters. If I had rank 5s, this would have been a joke. I swear. But yeah, so basically I was just trying to deal as much damage as I could. Like I said, don't worry about the L3. You just fight right through it. They're not going to trigger it. And yeah, so I'm just going to encourage, basically at the end here, I'm just going to encourage all of you to just go for this. You know, really try, you know, do a practice run every now and then. It's only one energy to get through each tile, so just go in and do, you know, fight Winter Soldier and just get the feel for it, and then, you know, finish the fight and exit out, you know, and go back to doing your regular thing. But it'll get you the practice you need to get to the point where you can complete it. So, all right. So that video is extremely long as it is. I hope you guys found this helpful. I was really excited that I finished this finally, and I was really excited to hopefully, you know, pass on some tips to you. And again, just encourage you guys. You can do this. It's not that tough. You can. You just gotta, you know, work on your skills, work on endurance, work on parry, work on dexterity evades. You got this. It's just a matter of going the distance. Um, so yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Rulk014. You can hit subscribe right here, or you can hit subscribe below if you want to see more videos as they become available. Also, please hit that like button if you like the video. It greatly helps. Please share the video with anybody, your friends, alliance teammates, etc. It really helps me out. If you want to support the channel, I greatly appreciate that, and you can find information on that in the details section below. If you choose to, again, I really appreciate anything you guys do, and I just appreciate you guys listening and watching. So good luck with Realm of Legends. We'll see you guys next time for smashing some more stuff.